Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent and the most merciful, it brings me joy to welcome us all to yet another session of Zoom into your Deen. Before I proceed, just checking, can I be heard and seen clearly? A thumbs up would do. Right, Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much, Hamdan, and everybody else who's giving me a thumbs up. Right, okay, so welcome down to another session. As always, we're excited. We're happy to be here, right? We're eager. We're eager to hear what our special speaker for the day has to say. How will it bring us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How will it increase our knowledge, right? That's what we are here for, okay? Now, we're not only here to increase knowledge, we're also here to increase, to refine, right? To better our actions, our conduct, our character as Muslims, right? That's the intention. And we know that even angels are amongst us when we gather for such a blessed gathering, right? Now, I wanted to check with you guys. I know that last time I gave you a little bit of a, I don't want to say challenging, but a demanding journaling task, right? Why don't you guys share with me one quality that you listed in your journal that you felt as a Muslim brother or sister you had, right? And what you did within the course of that day, right? To, not to prove to anybody else, but for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to show your gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as well as remind yourself that, okay, I said I'm a kind person, and therefore I acted in this way, and that confirms that I am truly a kind person. So if each and every one of you can list one quality, right? Remember, guys, we're not boasting here. This is not about boasting, right? We are trying to spread goodness, right? And there is no problem in us competing to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So I want you guys to share it, right? On the chat, one quality you thought you had. For example, you thought I am somebody who's helpful. And an example could be, I helped my mom clear up the dishes, or I helped my dad clean the car, or I helped my grandfather with WhatsApp, whatever it might be. So why don't we list down the quality that we wrote down in our journal, okay? And what we did within the course of that day to show that we are truly this kind of a person. Now, I want you guys to comment in the chat box, right? I'm not seeing anything yet. All right, okay. My fault. I didn't scroll down. Right. So Brother Hamdan says that he swept and mopped the floor. MashaAllah. Okay. So maybe then the quality that Brother Hamdan may have listed now was that he is somebody who is helpful, right? It could even be kind, right? Even could be kindness, because sometimes it's not really something you enjoy, right? It doesn't have to be something you enjoy. And I think the merit is going to be that much more if it is something that you don't enjoy, but you go out of your way to ease somebody else's burden, right? To ease the workload of somebody else, right? I swept the floor, I helped my mother. Okay, Brother Hamdan, why don't you tell us, what was your mom's reaction like? Right? How did your mother feel? Did she say something? Was she happy? Maybe she gave you something. I don't know, right? What was her reaction when you actually helped her, right? What did she say? You can just type it in one word, one line, no pressure. I helped my dad take the groceries from the vehicle. Yes, alhamdulillah, that's great, Yusuf Shoaib. And that's a really good point. That's a really good point, and not that the others aren't. But the point I want to make is that sometimes we think of helping, assisting, as this huge, big task or burden, right? This thing that we need to dedicate a big amount of time for, only if we don't have any homework, only if we are not tired at all. But, guys, sometimes these little things, opening the door for the vehicle for your mom to get it, right? How simple is that? How simple is that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the angels are recording intention of earning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's blessings, right? So I helped my grandparents walk up the stairs. Alhamdulillah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you guys, right? This is absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for sharing this as well. And we did it in good faith, right? We're sharing it to encourage ourselves as well as everybody else to continue these good qualities that you guys already have in you. Alhamdulillah. Right? Now that brings me to our next journaling task. This falls again in a category of us checking ourselves, right? Now I'll give you an example, which is something that all of you can relate to, but I'll also go a little bit broader so that you can apply it into other areas of your life. Now, you all know that in mobile phones now, or tabs or whatever, you come across a screen time app, right? A screen time app. What does it do? It basically tells you how much of time you spent on your device. How much of time did you spend on your device? And it's so advanced now, it tells you out of that time that you spend on the device, how much was for social media, how much was for creativity, how much was for communication, right? Technology is that advanced, alhamdulillah, right? Now, what I did was when I looked at my screen time, how much of time I was spending on my mobile phone, and when I looked at how much of good is coming out of it. Now, you guys know I use social media heavily, right? Not just as a consumer, but even as somebody who creates content. Now, the balance that I was trying to strike is, okay, I don't want to be somebody who is over consuming social media, right? We know that these platforms are designed in a manner, though their intention is not bad, right? It's designed in a manner that it is easy for us to get hooked onto the platform, right? They keep sending you images, videos, content that are in line with your interests. So it's human nature, right? I mean, it's going to pop up on your screen. Obviously, you're going to check it out, right? And before you know it, that one post, that one YouTube video can turn into an hour or even two, right? So what I did was I audited my time on the screen, and the goal I set myself was to make sure that I spend more productive time on my mobile phone, meaning replying to maybe my clients' messages or family members' messages, or be it recording content that I want to put out there to educate and empower people, right? And I wanted to make sure that I was producing more, right, content than consuming, meaning scrolling on my Instagram page or my Facebook page, or whatever other medium that you might be using. Now that was just my example, but the reason I did that is we waste a lot of time. I mean, we waste a lot of time, and I genuinely think even more than our parents and the generations before that, it's even tougher for you and I, because we have so many things around us, so many modes, mediums, and things are so attractive these days. So it's very easy for our minds to get distracted and sidetracked. And before you know it, you end up spending so many hours doing whatever you're doing. It could be a video game, it could be social media. And don't get me wrong, guys, it could even be something good, right? It could even be something good. For example, reading a book that you like, right? Or even studying, right? I doubt anybody's having that issue, but maybe you study for too long, right? Now, the point I wanted to get to is sometimes this can lead in a burnout, right? In a burnout, meaning you end up doing that and only that, and you're really tired after that. So you're unable to focus properly, maybe in salah, right? Or you may be unable to focus in the other tasks that you have to do in the day. And we know it's important to take regular breaks. And we also know that everything should be done in moderation, right? Sometimes we could be doing something like studying, right? And we might be doing it for so long that you might, without intention, of course, even miss your salah, right? So I think it's really important for us, right, to be aware where we're spending our time. So this week's task for you is to identify activities where you end up spending a lot of time. Now that could be on social media, that could be playing outside, that could be reading a book you love, that could be studying, right? Where you end up spending too much time to the extent that it damages or inhibits or makes it difficult for you to do the other things that you need to be doing within your day, within your week, right? And as always, we don't just recognize and realize things, we take action, right? That's how we do it. So what I want you to do is to come up with 3 ways, right? Now, it can be less, it can be 1 or 2, if you feel you can address the challenge within 1 or 2 points. But if not, 3 ways or 3 changes or 3 action points that you are going to do in order to make sure that you don't get carried away with the task, that you don't spend too long on the video game, that you're not going to spend too much time on Instagram. So that could be setting an alarm, It could be, having only a certain number of tasks to be done rather than trying to do everything in one day. I'll leave that strategy up to you guys, but that is your journaling task. Now, guys, as always, the more exciting part, of course, is our guest speaker, right? Now, we have somebody on the platform that you guys might be seeing for the first time, so I hope you're excited. Now, this particular individual has had 8 years of corporate experience, right? Meaning working in companies, okay? He is the founder of Rubik Digital. He loves exploring opportunities and evaluating and learning. He finds enjoyment in the manifestation of ideas, and he loves to travel. So, my respected brothers and sisters, our guest today, our guest speaker today, is none other than Brother Arshad Mohideen. So, let me try to find Brother Arshad and make him the host. All right, we have located Brother Arshad. We are making him the co-host.
Assalamu alaikum, Chair.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Brother Arshad. How have you been?
I've been doing great. In fact, I'm actually not in my usual setting, so looking forward to a very engaging and exciting time with the Pathfinders team and everyone out here listening today, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. That is great. We are excited. And because of that, we're going to hand things over to you, and I'm going to slowly make my way out of the screen.
Nice. Jazakallah. Okay, how is everybody doing? Now, I want this session to be very interactive. I like when the listeners also engage because that's the best way to listen and learn. Today, we are going to talk about a very exciting, a very interesting, but most importantly, a very, very relevant topic. I'll get to why relevant in just a moment, but before we get started, I want everyone to get a bit energized. I want to see a couple of thumbs up because you're going to be doing a bit of typing on your little on your keyboard. So can I see a thumbs up from all the listeners out there? Nice. I'm getting a couple of comments on the chat box. So I'll be monitoring the comments so that I know that you guys understand what I'm about to share with you, inshallah. And hopefully we learn from each other and we have a wonderful session today. Jazakallah. All right. So today's subject is a very interesting subject. It's dedication and perseverance. Now, let's reflect a bit. Let's look at and let's try to understand why are we sort of exploring a topic of this nature. Now, if you look at our current context, things are not the same. Am I correct to say that? We have an unexpected guest who's basically causing a lot of havoc, a lot of disruption across many countries and cities. We all know who that is. Does anyone want to take a go at it on the chat box and say who this unexpected troublesome guest is? Yes, very good, very good. Yes, COVID-19, Corona. Now that guest has been a real pain, causing a lot of havoc, a lot of trouble to a lot of people. In fact, I know many brothers and sisters going through a lot of hardship, a lot of tough times, a lot of re-looking at the way they were doing things. Some have lost jobs. Many of you guys are probably staying home and studying and not going to school, restricted from meeting your friends, your family, going out to your favorite restaurant. A lot of things are restricted because of this annoying little guest. So the topic today is basically what I would call fuel for your soul. You see, dedication and perseverance is a mindset. And just like anything that is to nourish or strengthen the mind, you have to go back. Let me touch a more relevant example. Now, if you want to be fit, like Brother Shoaib, who's extremely fit, you have to work out and you have to be consistent. And then what happens? You grow the muscle needed to be fit, be energized, and whatnot. Now, just like that, if you want to also overcome certain hardships, certain adversity, be your absolute best, you also have to develop the muscle of your mind to be able to have the dedication, the perseverance to basically follow through, and follow through fully, so that you come out of this adversity as a better person. That's the challenge. And today's topic, I'm going to share a couple of practical examples, maybe take you back in time a bit to some of the heroes we cherish as Muslims, looking at their life, examples that we know, stories that we've grown up with, stories our mothers used to teach us or talk to us during our bedtime. Touch or basically reflect on some of these and see if there are some insights we can gather, so we can gain the skill, gain the necessary mindset to fuel our mind with the right ammunition of determination and perseverance. Are we good? Wonderful. All right, so let's get into it. But for that, it always helps to understand what these two definitions are all about. What is determination? What is perseverance? So let me break it down a bit more so we understand what it is, and then we'll sort of get into the characteristics of someone who has these traits, the little what I would call the little strengths that you have within you to sort of be a person who has the determination and perseverance to fight through any adversity and come out as a much more better version of yourself. That's the whole point of today. Understanding where you are, understanding the emotions, the feelings you feel when you go through adversity and challenges, but also giving you the assurance, telling you that it's okay. You're going to be all right. These things come and go. You're going to be a better version of yourself. It also makes me reflect on a quote that I really sort of hold true. It says, tough times don't last, but tough people do. So today's topic is about giving you the strength, the ammunition, the mindset to get through tough times because you're a tough person. All right. So what is dedication? So dedication is basically the ability of you committing yourself into something that you truly believe in. If you believe in something, the commitment you put on a day in, day out, month in, month out, yearly basis to make sure that what you believe in sort of comes to fruit. On the other hand, perseverance is basically the ability to consistently overcome your challenges. Now, while you go forward, while you believe in something, let it be personal, let it be something that whatever you believe in, there are challenges that come here. For example, you would have wanted to go on a beautiful overseas trip. I love to travel, and I know many of you would have wanted to travel somewhere. Unfortunately, you're restricted to your house. But these are obstacles. These are all obstacles that happen. So perseverance is the mindset muscle you create to sort of consistently fight and overcome these barriers, despite these barriers being there, so that you can go forward towards achieving your goal that you have set for yourself. So now that we have understood what the definition of the context of my presentation today is all about, I'd like to now get into the more tactical aspect. Now, what you will see here, like I said, I'll give you some tips. I'll also tap into some stories. Stories are a nice way for us to sort of understand what individuals, reverend people before us have done to overcome certain situations that they faced in their life. So if we sort of go back and take those insights, we can probably apply them and it becomes relevant. I mean, I used to back then always wonder, what is the reason we study history? Really, like, why would I want to go back to the past? Like at a tender age, I couldn't quite digest the reason as to why we should always study history. I'm like, I like science. There are subjects that are much more relevant. But as I sort of grew more older, slightly a bit more wise, I realized that when you go back in time, history just gives you solutions for a better future. When you go back, when you sort of reflect on the lifestyles of individuals, leaders who have done it, been through it, and basically come out better than they have, or accomplished the goal that they set within themselves, you realize that uh, the little insights that you can gather from them is something you can apply to your life and basically move forward. So let's get straight into it. Now, I have seven. You see these seven characteristics talk to you about today to build this muscle of dedication and perseverance. Now, like I said, any of you can do it, no matter what you're going through. You can have, you can be stuck at home. You know, you might not be able to go out. You know, you might have different challenges. You might be stuck with a project, an assignment, an exam. Maybe you're falling short on a sport that you dearly love to be better at. But nevertheless, there is no reason for you to feel bad or look down upon yourself. The goal here is to build a mindset to go forward. So I'm going to share the first tip with you. Now, the first tip, my friends, is planning. You have to have a plan. Now let's talk about let me help me understand something that you plan to do, maybe in the short term, maybe in the next 6 months. Is there anything that you have planned? It can be an exam, it can be a project, um, it can be maybe trying a new sport or exploring a new skill set like drawing. Is there something that you planned in your life? I like to see some ideas. Your face, okay. Brother Ashfaq is facing over that. I wish you all the best. Brother Thabit is studying. Oh, Brother Hamdan want to ride a bike. That's a beautiful hobby. I still wish I can get on a bike and ride. Though I feel I have lost that skill set. But it's nice. See, that's the beauty. No matter whatever it is, it can be just a passion or it can be a project. Whatever it is, you always have to go with a plan. And you always have to have a plan. uh, I want to reflect on a beautiful story. You know Back when Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was just sort of preaching, when Islam was just sort of commencing, he had a lot of uh, harsh assault from the Quraysh. His own people were assaulting him and didn't make the spread of this beautiful region anytime easy. It was very harsh, and because of that, Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and the Sahabas, they used to go to the outskirts, to plan how they can expand and spread the religion. Now, it makes me think, okay, he's the Prophet of Allah. He could have been like, I'm the Prophet of Allah. I don't have to have a plan. I don't have to hide and sneak in the nights or to the outskirts to one of my close friends, my Sahaba's house. I don't have to do that because I'm the Prophet of Allah. But no, he didn't. So this teaches us, even the Prophet, at being who he is, definitely always had a plan. So this is the premise of anything. You need to always have a plan. And it also tells us when he was doing his hijri to Medina with Abu Bakr Siddiq, they did not, take the direct route to Medina. We all know this. They took a longer route that was going through the coastal line. This is to confuse the Quraysh who were tracking them and coming behind them. This is just so that they can finally achieve the objective they wanted, that is to reach Medina, but not get caught. So it helps us to understand, when we reflect on this story, that even in our lives, no matter what the task is, whether it can be a daunting, really big project or really big task, or it can be a small thing as maybe, giving a thank you card to one of your family members. It can be something very simple. But the main thing is always have a plan. Now, with every little task, I like to share you a pro tip. And from one pro tip I can give you is planning is essential. Do this daily. And I would suggest you to have your very own to-do list. You can use this, you can do this through the phone even. Every phone has a to-do app. But make sure if you have a task that needs to be done, put it down so that you always have a plan. And as humans we tend to forget, and that's okay. That's the whole idea of being human. You forget, you go off track, but always having a sort of central place you can sort of come back to and just regain your thoughts is always helpful. All right, so are we good with point number one? Can I go to point number two? Okay, so point number two is basically about setting big goals, not small goals, but I'm talking about big goals. Now, people also talk about, setting a dream or having a dream. But for me, I believe that it's very important for you to set goals. Now, what's the difference between a dream and a goal? Now, when it's a dream, the difference between a dream and goal is very simple. A dream is also an idea that you want to pursue, but unfortunately, have a dream does not have a deadline. Whereas when it comes to a goal has a very, very specific deadline. It's time bound. So when the time is finite, you know that this has to be achieved during this time. And if it exceeds that time, well, it's still a dream. That's why, you get this fun little statement make people tell you, like, when you don't complete something, you're still dreaming about it. Have you heard that? I know I've got it many a times. But the most important thing to remember here is always ensure that you have goals that are time bound. And the beauty of having goals rather than dreams is that when you have a goal and it's time bound, you basically, on the completion of a goal, you basically excel, or you get that learning, because when you go through a process of completing something, at the end of it there is some sort of reward. The reward can come in the form of learning, in the form of skill enhancement, in the form of developing your competency, your experience. These are all aspects of the outcome. So if you have a goal and you complete it, you get that value. So I suggest that you need to, in your life, in this short life you are living, create as many goals as possible and accomplish them fast. The faster you're able to accomplish goals, if you can create a process for yourself to accomplish goals faster, what happens is you learn more, you gain more, you experience more, and you live life in a more richer manner. So um, understand that, don't limit yourself to just a big dream, but break that into goals that are achievable and do what it takes to keep completing goals. It sort of makes us go back and understand this sort of mindset. The ability to accomplish goals is the reason our religion, Islam, spread so fast. Um, if you look at Umar ibn Khattab during his time as a Khalifa, Islam spread exceptionally fast because, as a leader, his goal was to expand the religion of Islam across the world. And that is why we have this many Muslims have today. And I believe the fundamental aspect is that each of our Khalifas, the prophets, their ability to set big goals and ensure that it meets its end is why all of us are able to have a lot of Muslim brothers and sisters around us and basically reap the benefits of their efforts. So no matter what you do, always make sure that you have a big goal. In fact, as Muslims, we also have to have a goal. Yes, we have our worldly goals, but we also have to have goals that are bigger. So all our ultimate goal is to, inshallah, one day, what is it? What is our ultimate goal? I like to ask you the question without me having to say that. What is the ultimate goal for a Muslim? Definitely. MashaAllah, very good, Safi. Yes, go to Jannah. So if that is the ultimate goal, what are the steps you have taken to achieve that in this world? So it's something to think about. So that is your big goal. What are the things that you have set in place to achieve it. So it's important to always make your goal very ambitious, very big, so that it excites you. Okay, so that's another thing, to create that mental muscle to sort of be someone who can persevere through any hardship and do whatever it takes. All right. So that was point number 2. I want to go to the third point now. Now, the third point is something that happens once we once we get into the process of accomplishing, of basically focusing on, when we focus on our goals, our dreams, or whatever. When we get into the process, there is this little thing that happens. Okay, we call it many names, but in summary, it's called fear. It can be fear of many things. It can be failure, it can be fear of just being anxious, being uncertain, whatever it can be. But we get this little um, element that comes into our head during this time. What we have to do is what I'm going to talk about next, and that is never give up. you know because when you get into the process, and this little fear, this psychosis that comes into you, that is basically the moment where you have to train your mind not to give up, or to basically follow through till the end. I know it's not easy, as you say. I'm a victim myself. It's not. I mean, it's easy to say than do. But the most important thing is to have that conscious understanding that you have to see through to the end of whatever you do, no matter how hard or to what level the complexity is. Make sure that you do not give up. Um, so one of my favorite inventors, I mean, where one of the biggest inventions in history is the light bulb, and Thomas Edison. If you look at him, he tried 10,000 times till he perfected the light bulb. And you know what he said? He said that I found 10,000 ways of not creating a light bulb. That's very fascinating to understand in terms of the perspective of how you look at things. Now, when you go towards achieving your goals, you meet many obstacles, but it's important to look at these obstacles as learning points, um, and never giving up, because the it this process, there are moments where you will fail. That's a given. There is no area where you can go towards achieving your goals and be like, I'm going to do this properly and I'm going to always win. No, that is never going to happen. Many of us had many ideas this year, but most of those ideas, those dreams, those expectations sort of shattered as soon as COVID came and opened the door, knocked on the door basically, and basically barged right in. All those ideas, all those dreams just shattered. But it is definitely a failure, but we shouldn't look at it as a failure. We should look at it as an opportunity, as a small failure, but a moment which we can learn and sort of identify a better self. Because let me tell you one thing: inside every failure, there is always something to learn. There's always something to learn, but it's important to push through it and not give up. Uh, I, based on never giving up, I like to reflect on another story that's very dear to me, a story that I really love listening to, and I really love the story of Noah alayhi salam. So, tell me something about Noah alayhi salam that is very significant. That is very significant about Noah alayhi salam. Anyone wants to take a go at it? Yes. Okay, Brother Hamdan is on fire. He's got it right. Yes. Nuh alayhi salam, the significance of Prophet Nuh alayhi salam is the ark. You know. So, what about the ark? That is very interesting in this mindset muscle of never giving up. Now, when Allah gave the command to build a ark, His people went against him. Okay, they were mocking him. They were laughing at him. They were just asking if he has gone mad to build an ark right in the center of, when it's inland, where the coast or the ocean is so many, a huge distance away. The people were really being hard on him. But he didn't take it to heart. He in fact he planted the trees. He let the trees sort of grow. From those trees is when what he built up. So it took a long time. So just imagine, just put yourself in at that time. Just imagine the pressure, the pain that you have to endure for so long. I mean, building a ship to take a 2,000 people, that's a daunting task, even if you look at it in a modern context. But imagine taking, a single gender, taking a single gender, a species of animals, people, everything on this single arc. Imagine the level of tension and the level of pressure that you have to endure. So, but he didn't give up. Fundamentally, he didn't, and because he didn't, he was rewarded, and the people who went against him, basically they were punished and drowned. So it's important to sort of understand, like, if you look back at our heroes, our prophets, if you look back at how they've endured pain and not given up, it sort of gives you a bit of hope. It gives you a bit of inspiration, and it makes you understand that the little problems that we are facing now, is let it be COVID, let it be whatever it is, we can get through it. We can come out better, we can come out stronger, and it's not going to stop us. So at this point, when you're in the process, never give up. All right. So let's go to the fourth point, and this is another exciting point. That really excites me, especially when you're when you're going towards your goals, and that is finding opportunities. Now, when you're facing challenges, when you're facing when you're in a challenge, or when you're going towards your goal, you realize that sometimes you meet a deadlock. You know, you're locked because there are challenges in your life. But that doesn't mean that you have to be stuck and stagnated in one place. You have to find a way to break through, break free, and find other avenues, other opportunities around you, so that you can go towards your goal. Because let's face it, you are going to get stuck at one point. You are going to get a bit restricted. The challenges are going to come and overshadow you, and sometimes you're going to be like, what do I do during this time? Who do I have? Am I alone? One thing, you're not alone, because you always got Allah by your side, so you're never alone, that's for sure. But the most important thing here is to understand that you have the opportunity within yourself to find opportunities around you, and that's important. It only requires you to just open your eyes and change your perspective, uh, or the way you're looking at things. Now, I know many of you are stuck at home. Okay, you're stuck at home. You're figuring out what you need to do. I like to know something, some sort of new activity that you've gotten into while being at home. Baking, wow, lovely. I love bake. I don't bake, but I love eating a lot of things that are baked. Learning a new language, mashallah. What is the language you're learning? Very interesting. Arabic, mashallah. Very good, very good. That's really nice to know. Good. See, so that's the main idea here. When you break through and find these opportunities, you realize that in every opportunity there's something to learn and gain. Wow, you do 5 push-ups every day. That is the true. That is one of the best ways to stay fit. Mashallah, great job. Keep it up. Push yourself. Maybe you can make the 8 push-ups, and you really build the muscle more stronger. All right. So, so this is what I'm talking about. Because when you when you find new opportunities, what happens is you realize that the challenge that you face or that you saw tends to be more stronger, because when you fight a challenge with one area, it obviously can be daunting. But when you fight the challenge from different ways, you tend to be more stronger, because you learn more, you find new ways to do things, you find new perspectives, you get different opinions, and with that learning, when you take on the challenge, you definitely become a more strong you. So I like to reflect once again on Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and the story of when he was sort of preaching Islam, there was a lot of resistance from the Quraysh. And he knew his own people weren't going to sort of listen to him, weren't making it easy. So what did he want to do? He wanted to look out, find opportunities around neighboring cities. He sent his messenger, people to talk, send the message to other kings in other areas. He also looked at different cities across, like Taif, Medinas. But when he went to Taif, we all know the people in Taif didn't treat him properly as well. They were stoning him and they were being harsh to him and the message that he was delivering. But that didn't stop him. He then looked at Medina, and then the people of Medina were definitely much more welcoming, and that's how Islam basically went to Medina. But so what we have to understand here is a Muslim has to never look at a challenge as a challenge, but a challenge as an opportunity, or find opportunities to basically overcome that challenge. Taking this example from our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, look at how you can basically find more avenues of opportunities to fight the challenge head on and basically become a victor. So when you are able to fight a challenge, what you unleash is your true potential. Okay, so remember, what I would also suggest is find a way on a monthly basis or on a yearly basis. Every year, try out something new. It can be a new language like Arabic. It can be a new skill like it can be a new fitness thing like push-ups or whatever, or learning to ride the bike. But try yourself, find new opportunity to basically, be better, to develop this mental muscle. Okay, so you can overcome any hardship in your life. All right. The next, so I think I have covered, this is the fifth sort of characteristic, and this is the ability to be consistent. Okay, so consistency is very important. Now, what is consistency? Consistency is basically building continuous momentum. Sometimes when we take on a task, what we do is we do it really well for the first time, the second time, the third time, and then by the fourth time, we get a bit lazy, fifth time a bit more, and then by sixth time we've forgotten about why we even did it. So that's the usual human agenda. Now, the idea here is to be consistent. So consistency is about basically telling yourself that no matter what, if you have basically agreed to accomplish something, you will see through it, but you will also see through it on a continuous basis. So that action sort of develops into a habit, and when it develops into habit, it becomes all the more easier, and it becomes all the more seamless to sort of help you accomplish your goal towards whatever outcome that you desire. So I'd like to know, tell me a little thing that you have been consistent with over the last few months or during this year. Is there something in your life that you've been doing consistently? MashaAllah, prayer, definitely. That comes to my next point, because we all know that the biggest gift to humanity, we as Muslims believe, is prayer. Yeah. So how many of us are consistent with our prayers? I know I'm guilty. So, but we have to understand that being consistent, be praying on time, are things that we have to do as Muslims. This is what we have been gifted to, and it's important that we do it properly, consistently, so that we can be our better Muslims in a more spiritual manner. So the whole idea here is to understand that consistency is important. All right. So I also want to share a small pro tip here, and the tip here is, if you take on something, if you feel that you're lagging, for example, if you feel that you want to make sure you recite the Quran 2 times a day, okay, and you're not doing it properly, you probably decide one day at one time, then the next day you have to recite another time. But if you want to be consistent, here's my pro tip. Make up your mind to do it for at least 21 days. 21 days. Just try it out for 21 days. If you want to do something and you want to make it a habit, just try doing it for 21 days. But you shouldn't alter any of the, if you decided to do a particular activity at 7 a.m. in the morning, all right, 7 a.m., and you want to do it for 10 minutes, you have to do that for 21 days. So that's the pro tip there. And if you keep doing that, this muscle of consistency will begin to grow. And when you're consistent with what you do, that really helps you achieve your goals better and enables you to become a stronger version of yourself. All right. So we're now heading to the sixth characteristic, and it's also another characteristic I really sort of hold true. Um, this is all. This is about accepting and appreciating the outcome. Now, while you go on, while you do your goals, while you go towards achieving your outcomes, you realize that sometimes you deliver and sometimes you don't. The most important thing here is understanding that whatever happens, you accept it with an open heart and you appreciate the outcome, despite it being. We all know that every day can't be full of bed of roses. There are hard days, there are tough times, especially like the time we're all facing right now. But accept it and appreciate it is very important to sort of develop your mental muscle. It also helps us understand that life basically happens for you and not to you. To understand that the opportunities, maybe the issues, the problems you might be facing, or the gifts you must be gaining are happening for you. Okay, so um, if you develop this mindset of being able to accept what is happening and looking at the hard times as a learning and understanding the outcome, I can assure you that you will definitely gain much more in the long run. Um, I like to, well, let us reflect on another story, another prophet that's very dear to me, that is Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. When he was accused of a sin and was then thrown into prison and was told that unless he partakes in that sin, he can't come out, and he refused and he doesn't want to do that sin, and he was kept in prison. And he basically accepted that plight because he didn't want to sin. So he was then kept in prison. So, like I said, he accepted his outcome, his situation, and then what was the outcome? Allah gifted him. Uh, Allah gifted him with the ability to be able to what? Does anyone know? Prophet Yusuf, when he was in prison, Allah gifted him the ability to basically read dreams. So he was he was gifted the ability to read dreams, and when he did this, he was able to read the dream of the Egyptian king at that time, and basically predict, uh, you know, uh, predict something that was going to happen that helped them save Egypt from, where during it was predicted that there's going to be 7 good years and then there's going to be 7 bad years of drought. So because he was able to predict this, uh, Egypt was able to stock and save up on their resources, and that helped the people at that time. So Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam accepted his situation, the context he was in, being in prison, but on hindsight, the outcome he gained was so much more. I wanted to digest this point a bit more. Like, for example, we all face situations like this in our day-to-day life. Sometimes your grandparents or your grandma will be like, come stay with me and spend the evening with me. And you are like, why must I spend with my grandma when I can go and play with my friends? But maybe sometimes during the time you spend with her, some of the advice that she shared with you during that little short time which you gave to her rather than your friends would probably one day come to you as maybe an opportunity where you use that advice to sort of zoom into life. So these are ways, you basically accept certain situations, not always fight it and be rebellious about it, but then in hindsight you realize that the that you're able to appreciate the outcome of that effort or that situation much more. So um, I have a pro tip I want to share with you. I call it the be thankful switch. So there are many times in our life that we feel down. We wonder why this situation happened to me. Why Did I lose a job? Why am I not being able to go to school? Why did this happen to me? Why did I fail on this subject, this project? Why am I not good at playing basketball? So you might face these little situations. But what's important to understand is when you get into that mindset, immediately switching to this, when I call it a switch, at that moment when you feel like you're falling down, you're putting yourself down, think of a few things that you're really good at, or something that's really good in your life. Okay, it's not easy to do, as I say. It takes time, it takes practice. I mean, I'm learning, I'm still trying to master it, but I know when I do it, at least at that time, I'm able to shift my mood into a more positive mood, and I know that has worked for me, and I bet that will work for you as well. So try it. Like I said, all these things are not skills that will happen overnight. These are things that sometimes take months, years, even decades. But the most important thing is you being conscious, you having the awareness and understanding that you have it within you to be that better version of you. And there are these small little characteristics that if you sort of fine tune, if you understand, if you put into practice, can definitely bear a lot of fruit in you becoming the best version, and basically overcoming any adversity. All right. So now we go to our final and our seventh characteristic, and this is something that we always. This is one of my favorites, and it's very important. Uh, this characteristic, it's basically about always staying positive, no matter what the outcome is. Now, the previous one is about accepting the outcome. It's about accepting the outcome and reflecting, understanding that uh, that life happens for you and not to you, and that this outcome will one day bear fruit. Now, here is different. Here, basically, it's about having a positive mindset, being positive about things rather than looking at things negative. Okay, because let's be honest to each other. Life is very short, and being negative about what's going on, what's happening happening around us, is not going to really benefit us in the short or the long term. But rather learning from it and taking proactive, positive measures towards being your better self is very important. I mean, when we look at when we look at our Sahaba Bilal, when he was just accepting Islam, his master Umayyah, at that point put this hot stone over his chest, and told him to not basically believe in one God. But did Bilal care about it? No, he didn't. He stayed positive. He stayed positive on the hope that he will get through this. And definitely, not long after that, Abu Bakr Siddiq came and basically said, Bilal free from Maya's grip. So it's important to understand that despite hardships that happen, having a positive attitude, a positive spirit within yourself allows you to sort of overcome certain obstacles, certain adversities, and sort of gives you the confidence that you can go through it. You're good. You're good. You can get through it no matter how hard it is. All right. So for this, I have two things I like you to understand. Sometimes it's easy to say be positive. It's very cliche. Someone says be positive. It's very easy to say, but I want to give you a more practical approach onto positivity. And now there are two ways when you look at, if you want to be positive, there are two ways. One is when you're working on your goal or trying to accomplish something, there is something called the process. Okay, there's something to call the process that you have to do towards achieving the outcome. And the other one is the process, and then you get the picture. The picture is your final outcome. So it's important for you to be positive. You have to create the positive mindset for both the process and the picture. That is the final outcome. So how you can do this is very simple. I like to start with the picture first. The picture is the big picture, or the picture of your final outcome. Now, you do certain things because you believe there is a certain reward. If you do well in this world, you go to Jannah. That's your final reward. So it's important. It's important to understand what is that big picture you're chasing after, because more you think of the big picture or the big picture, the more you think of the big picture and the outcome, that gives you a sense of mental satisfaction that energizes you, makes you feel positive. So when you feel down, okay, always quickly switch back and see what is it that you're going after. It can be anything. Okay, it can be maybe to get a really fancy car. It can be to go on a nice overseas trip. It can be maybe to buy a nice house. It can be to do your absolute best and get the highest results for your exam or your project. Whatever it may be, think of that first and assume that you have already achieved it or you're already there. Okay, picture yourself already being there, so that immediately you get a hit of positivity coming yourself. Then the next step is figuring out the process. Now, if you want to be positive during the process, it's important to sort of set processes within the process to sort of be positive. I don't have much time. I know since we are running out of time, I just because this subject about being positive is so big and so vast, and if you can understand that, it sort of helps you get a lot of things in your life in order. So, for example, if you have a group assignment, find way. If you have if you're doing an assignment alone, and you feel that it's sort of it's tiring you down and you're drained yourself out of positivity, find times to sort of meet friends or maybe add a colleague or a friend into that assignment so that you all can work together and it becomes a bit more fun. Okay, so there are different ways you can put little processes within your process so that you stay positive, you always stay motivated, and you stay energized towards going towards the big picture. Okay, so here one of my pro tips are reflection. Immediately think of, if you want to be positive, look at why you're doing this, the big picture, and find ways within the process of achieving this big picture how you can sort of stay positive. So that is basically the uh, seven characteristics of a true champion, a true tough guy, tough guy or gal who wants to sort of overcome any obstacle, any challenge that's happening around them, to them, with them, in whatever way, but sort of fighting it off with the true essence of dedication and perseverance. Like I mentioned, this is not something that will happen overnight. This is a muscle that has to be built, and any muscle takes time, it takes practice, it takes dedication. So if you want to build this mental muscle and be your absolute best, think of these seven characteristics. I'll just go through it one more time so it will be easy for you to reflect. Maybe you can take it down. Planning, essential. Be a man with a plan. Always have and look at, reflect on how our heroes basically planned their life to achieve their goals. Set big goals, not small goals, big goals, so that it excites you and you see that on a you're also creating a bigger impact, because Islam is all about impact. If our heroes operated the way if they didn't operate the way they did, we won't be here. So it's always about impact. You have to always look at, okay, from what you're doing, what's the sort of impact your goal is creating. All right. While you're creating impact, don't give up. Keep going at it, keep pushing the bar, keep doing. And while you do that, you will have challenges. When you find those challenges, don't stop there. Look at other opportunities around you, find new ways of tackling those challenges, because the more faster you find opportunities or different ways of doing things, the smaller the challenge becomes. The challenge starts to shrink, and when the challenge shrinks, basically you become better at doing what you're doing. And once you're doing what you're doing, don't stop there. Be consistent. Don't do it one day and maybe give up the next day and then start again on the fifth day, but find a way to be consistent, so that when you do things consistently, it becomes a habit. And when it becomes a habit, it's ingrained into your behavior, and then you basically you're able to basically act on that muscle, or sort of use that muscle very frequently and faster. So be consistent. accept and appreciate the outcome. So if you're in a situation, don't look at it as a complete negative thing. Yes, it might look negative temporarily or at that moment, but my I feel what you have to understand is life happens for you and not to you. And if you look at it in that way, you realize that there's always learning, there's always something that you can come out of and be a better version of yourself. And finally, always stay positive. Turn that frown upside down. Don't look at the context around you as something negative, but something that can liberate and empower you. And basically be positive and take every day as it comes. And basically go for your goals. And inshallah, I wish you all the best. I wish you go through, basically can uh, evade and excel through all hardships that you're going through and be your absolute self. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Ameen, Ameen wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Brother Arshad, Jazakallah khair for that informative session. I myself have so much to take from that session, and I'm sure the brothers and sisters themselves have nothing less. As always, on behalf of everybody, all our participants, thank you so much. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you for your time, for preparation, for your effort here, and for the knowledge that you have left us with. And as always, our brothers and sisters will include you in their duas as a gesture of their gratitude and appreciation for what you have done for all of us.
Jazakallah Shiba. Always a pleasure.
Barakallah.
Looking forward to the next session.
Inshallah,
Assalamu alaikum.
inshallah. Yes, likewise. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. With that, my respected brothers and sisters, another session of Zoom into your Deen has come to an end. Now, don't forget, right? Let's implement all these things that Brother Arshad shared with us. It was very relevant for literally any area of your life. So I don't see why we will have to pick and choose with this little piece of information that we've got. So I hope that you guys are able to I hope that you guys took down the points, and I know that you guys would have been listening quite intuitively. And if you're worried that you might forget these points and you haven't written, soon as we're done, make sure you list them down because it's fresh in your mind right now. Okay, I think this was a very, very informative session and very relevant, especially because regardless of our age or where we are in our life, we all have goals and tasks that we need to be achieving for us to grow and develop as a Muslim, as a human being, right? Whatever it might be. So we sincerely hope that this session was as beneficial as all of the previous sessions as well. And we eagerly look forward to seeing all of the brothers and sisters next week, same time, same place, inshallah. Jazakallah khair for your time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.